Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm Shaquat. And I'm back here with another lesson. Lord willing, is edifying to the hopeful elect. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatham. To you sincere, Akim, Wakwathyam. And a sincere shalom to you brothers out there pushing this truth out on the highways and the byways and through the YouTube lessons, man. Shalom to you all. I do hope and pray that this is edifying and exhorting to the elect, all right, who are listening and learning. All right, so before getting into it, give me one moment. One moment. All right, so as you see, the lesson is entitled Draft 2026. Draft 2026. All right. So if you didn't know already, Esau has declared, and we have it pulled up here on the Google AI, that a draft will be taking place in December of this year. A military draft, not an NBA, NFL, shit like that. A military draft, which hasn't happened, Lord knows how long. So I'm going to ask that as well, right? But yeah, and it may, depending on how this war continues going, it may even be sooner. It may be even sooner. Okay, so I would like to say this video will be conducted under the Fair Use Copyrights Act of 1976, where all public information, where all public information will be used for the purpose of education, teaching, criticism, and research. This video will not be monetized. Right? So anyway, let's get to it. I'm gonna go to Instagram and show a video clipping. Everything good? Yep. I'm gonna show a few clips. So this is the first one. Well, this is the first one, just to get these out of the way. Why not show them? So a brother uploaded this. Breaking news: Trump has warned that NATO forces, NATO faces a very bad future if allies do not help the U.S. and Iran, according to FT report. All right, so and as we know where it stands right now, NATO ain't fucking with America, man. EU ain't fucking with America. You see the brother put over here. He said no allies want to help because America has called for help. They are literally asking for help. Matter of fact, it's a precept on that. Let me see if I can find that. Hold on. Yep, Nahum. We're going to get that scripture. Niggas are looking for help. All right, this is Nahum, chapter 3, in verse 11. It says, thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All right, so America is weak, and now they are seeking strength. America is weak, and now they are seeking strength, and it's a spiritual Nineveh. All right, you had literal Nineveh, that bloody city. All right, and this is talking about spiritual Nineveh. Remember, things written aforetime are written for our learning. Remember, it say, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." All right, things written aforetime written for our learning. This is a spiritual Nineveh talking about America. All right, which back then it was bad too, but this is really so we can read these in the times that we're in right now to speak about and point the finger at who? Babylon the Great America. So let's read verse 11 again. Thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first stripe, yeah, with the first stripe, with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall unto the mouth of the eater. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. And give me one moment here. All right, so and yeah, man, let's read this verse again. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. So, like what we're gonna get into when we go to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Hey, man, the men are like women at this point. And what is going to be left here in America is just women, because a lot of the men are going to die at war. You know, when you go to 2nd Ezra 16, it states that when you get into Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, towards the end, you know, a lot of men are going to die at war. Not only that, a lot of men are going to die during the tribulation, during the civil war and civil unrest. Men are going to go out looking for food or whatever, die defending their family. A lot of men are going to die. So it's going to be more women. Then you got all these weak men too. So, but it says, the gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. So it's going to be desolate. This place is going to be very vulnerable. All right. It says, the fire shall devour thy bars. Draw thee waters for the siege. Fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar. Make strong the brickland. All right. But anyway, the point is, America is going to be asking for help. And this is all prophecy, man. I told you, I say it all the time, there's a scripture for everything. Breaking, Trump has warned that NATO faces a very bad future if allies do not help the U.S. and Iran, according to FT support. So now they're asking for help. This is prophecy. That's spiritual Nineveh. This is prophecy, man. Now they as weak as women. The men don't want to go fight. They're asking for help. They struggling. This is all prophecy. So let's read what the brother put. No allies want to help. France officially rejected. Will not send warships. China, no response, called it a sovereign right. And why the fuck would China help? United Kingdom, discussing options with allies, no commitment. Japan, and this is 7 days ago, so some other things have popped off since. Japan, silence. 70% of Japan's Middle East oil comes through Hormuz. South Korea, no confirmation. Seoul, so caught between Washington and its own oil dependency. Germany, no convoy support. Norway, rejected. Qatar, already stopped gas production, declared force majeure. Their energy minister said this will bring down economies of the world. UAE, Gulf states tried to stop this war because they knew the implications. Iran still attacking ships, still laying mines, still blocking the strait. All right, so there you go. Okay, so I can get this up off of here now. You also have this. All right, one missile is enough to erase Israel. Kim Jong Un supports Iran. Support. So like Kim Jong Un offers support if Iran requests it. All right, now this is a lesson for another day, so I'm not going to get into this actually. So let me just put that back in the chamber. It's a whole another lesson, man. All right, hold on. Let me just put that back in the chamber. Yeah, it's a whole nother lesson. All right, so we're gonna leave that be. All right, so let's play this. Hold on. Well, shit, this is a whole nother lesson too, bro. Let me just put that with the other one. Salakia, man. Yeah, so let's get to the point again. Forgive me, Bubba Kasha. So, anywho, Congress considers. Well, we'll come back to this. I searched up draft 2026 military. As of March 2026, there is no active military draft in the United States, but automatic selective service registration for men ages 18 to 26 will begin in December of 2026. Current status: the U.S. continues to operate on all volunteer military force, and there is no active draft as of March 2026. America is clearly waxing weak if they got to implement a draft. Drafts are typically only needed for when your military is, lacking. You know, America's lacking clearly. Registration with the selective service system remains mandatory for nearly all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants aged 18 to 25. But this is the administrative requirement, which niggas ain't going for this shit. Niggas ain't going for this shit, right? It says not an induction into military force. Recent legislation and the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act introduces automatic registration using federal databases starting December 18th, 2026, but this does not authorize a draft. And let me see. I saw a video of this. I can look it up later. Point is, there is a draft that is on the table for December of this year. All right, and it's a man only draft, or so we thought. Congress considers adding women to the mandatory U.S. military draft. You know what I say? Add them hoes. Add them bitches to the draft. Because these hoes think they equal to a man, right? So add these bitches to the motherfucking draft. They already in your military. Why not add them to the mandatory draft when they're literally in your military already? All right. Before time, the last time there was an American draft, there were no women in the military. So why would you draft women anyway? But there are women in the military now. So why wouldn't you have a draft for both men and women? That wouldn't make sense to not, right? You women fought for this, remember? It says thoughts. Lawmakers in the United States Congress are debating a proposal that will require women to register for the military draft, just like men currently must. Right now, only men aged 18 to 26, it say 25, but it was 26, are required to sign up for the selective service system. But some legislators argue that the expanding registration of women will make the system more equal. Yeah, and reflect the modern role of women serving in the military. Absolutely. Even if Congress changes the rule, it does not mean a draft will begin immediately. A military draft can only happen if Congress and the president approve uh, activating it during a national emergency. Like I said, and the fact that this is even being considered shows you how America's power is waning. It's waning, man. All right, because this is a national emergency. America, they're getting fucked up. If it were ever used, the system would likely rely on a lottery based on birth dates, similar to the process used during the Vietnam War. All right. And nobody's going for that shit. It's gonna get protested into the dirt. Nobody going for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna go for that bullshit. This is 2026, my nigga. Nobody going for that shit. All right. So what was this all about? The 5,000 followers. Who is this person? Oh, it's a news. Okay, it's a news outlet, pretty much. Okay. So there you have it. America is grits, Jet. Grits. All right. So what I want to get into next. So, I guess we'll just get into some scriptures now. Right, and then close it off here shortly. So I want to start by going to Jeremiah 51, and we're going to go down to about 30 or so. Right. Yeah. Yep. Jeremiah 51 and 30. All right. So we started verse 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. All right. The kings of the Medes being the Russians. All right. These other nations are the nations that are with the Russians, allied with the Russians. You got China, North Korea, India, South Africa, all these different major powerhouse nations, right, that are allied with the Russians, man. Iran, it says the captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion. So all these nations are being gathered up and prepped against America, and America is waxing weaker and weaker. Right, they're waning in power. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. And now they're asking for help. They're getting their ass whooped. They're asking for help. And now they're also going to start a draft. America is fucked. It says the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women, like we was talking about in Nahum. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. All right, so this place is through. These mighty men of Babylon, they're not going to want to go fight for you. They're not going to do it, man. They have remained in their holes, meaning they'd rather stay at home. They're like women now. They don't want to go fight for you. They ready straight at the crib. All right. They're no longer really mighty anymore. Why even call them mighty men at this point? They are like unto women now. Now they're like unto women. Your bars, what does a bar do? It holds something in place. It's a sturdy thing. Makes something sturdy. Now it's broken. So America is no longer sturdy. It's waxing weaker and weaker. Now they're calling for a draft. Yeah. And it's going to be women included. Possibly. Allegedly. All right. It says one post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to shew the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. All right. Yeah. And they shooting, and Trump is realizing that. Trump is realizing this place is done. He realizing the mistakes he's done, but ultimately he's doing a bidding to the elite. This is all to crash America purposefully so they could establish that new system. All roads lead to the MOTB. And that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. Look, the men of war are affrighted. And you have a lot of people. Actually, I just saw today. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. I just saw this today. You get that out here. Where is that at? Yep. It says U.S. troops, a military rebellion is happening right now. First of all, there's a lot of infighting in the military right now, where a lot of a lot of your senior sergeants, generals, and stuff like that, they're infighting because they don't want to fight. They don't want to fight, and they trying to retire, trying to get up out of there, and they ain't fucking with your boy, Nero 47. They ain't fucking with him, right? It says military rebellion. U.S. troops are reportedly smoking weed. Allegedly, this is all allegedly. All right, reportedly smoking weed to fail drug test and get kicked out, all to avoid fighting in Donald Trump's war. Do you support the troops using this method to avoid war? I mean, them niggas simply they don't want to go die for this nigga. They don't want to go die for this nigga, bro. You got a bozo in the comment section talking about not. I don't respect them for getting kicked out. You know, I don't support them getting kicked out. But you gotta do what you gotta do. What the hell are you talking about? Just shut up, man. You know, but the point is, niggas are now smoking weed to get out of going to war. If this ain't the mighty men have forborne to fight, I don't know what the fuck it is. This crazy work. You know? So hey man, this place is done. All right, this place is completely finished. It's finished. All right. So when you go to the 50th chapter, start at verse 40. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. So this place is going to be completely annihilated, where no man, no human will ever dwell anymore. It will just be desert creatures, as it states in Isaiah 34, Revelation 18, so on and so forth. Behold, a people shall come from the north. All right, this is talking about the Medes, which are the Russians and the allying nations. And many kings, that's what it's talking about, the allying nations. And many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. All right, they shall hold the bow and the lance. Now, what is this going into? This is going into their missiles, their nuclear, their intercontinental ballistic missiles. Intercontinental meaning it could shoot all over the world. If it was just a continental, then it wouldn't be able to do that. But an intercontinental meaning it could shoot all across the world, the globe. Ballistic missile, nuclear ballistic missiles, nuclear. All right. So it says they are cruel and will not shew mercy. So now these nations, they have the same weapons as America. Why do you think Joel the second chapter says now the nation, our third chapter, forgive me, says let the weak say I am strong. Now these nations who were once inferior to America, they're now strong. And it's not like America has literally waxed weaker. These other nations have just caught up and surpassed in a sense. All right, so now America looks like it's waxing weaker because all the other nations have the same amount of power, if not more power. You know, like the Lord said in the 51st chapter, he's opening up his armory. He's opening up his armory, man. He's expanding it. Now everybody got a fucking nuke. Everybody got that now. That's nothing. China got a fucking hydrogen bomb that has 60 plus warheads in that motherfucker. Only one hydrogen bomb. That shit can destroy America alone if they were just to shoot that. They don't even need nukes for this bitch. So the Lord is about to overkill America. All right? Overkill. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not shew mercy. Their voice of what America, oh, we want to, can we get an unconditional surrender? Iran said, nigga, fuck that. Fuck that. All right? Shit. Niggas been trying to get Russia to stop putting BTA to Ukraine for years. Them niggas talking about fuck that. Now they're not trying to destroy them because they want to overtake that land again because that was once a part of the USSR. But you know, their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. All right, so all these things are coming against America, man. It says the king of Babylon hath heard the report. All right, he heard this, man. He's seeing this, man. That's why you got niggas in the Oval Office all these damn so-called pastors got their hand over him praying through, and these heathens that making skits out of it and animations and shit funny as hell. All right, it says the king of Babylon heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, the pangs of a woman in travail, the pangs as of a woman in travail. All right, so even the king of Babylon is going to be as like unto a woman. This place is done. All right, this place is cooked. Cooked. All right, cooked. It was beautiful seeing prophecy unfolding right before our very eyes. It's a very beautiful thing to see. All right. So I want to go to the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. You know. All right. It's Isaiah 47:1, lament for Babylon. Come down and sit in the dust. Let me see what it's saying in another translation. All right. Isaiah 47:1. I never read it in NLT, so that's what we're finna do. Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, which is America. So this is how you know, once again, it's not talking about ancient Babylon. It's sit in the dust, for your days of sitting on a throne have ended. So America's days of rulership, Esau's days of ruling is done. It's done. It's it. This is it, man. All right, you're about to be brought low. That's why I said, come down and sit in the dust. You're being brought to a low point. You're being weakened. O daughter of Babylonia, never again will you be the lovely princess, tender and delicate. So you will never be a virgin again, because soon you're about to be penetrated by many different rods forcefully. All right. It says, take heavy millstones and grind flour. Remove your veil and strip off your robe. So reveal yourself, basically. Strip off your robe, show your skin, show your titties, your ass, right? Your stomach, your legs, your hair, uncover your hair. When you read it in the KJV, it says all that, and it says expose yourself to public view. So expose that box, expose your pussy as well. That's what to get slack if you're being vulgar, but that's what it is. You're going to be completely naked, showing how vulnerable America's going to be. If you have a woman, right? If there's a woman and she just gets booty butt naked, which is considered public indecency, all right, here in America and shit, you couldn't do that shit back in ancient world either. Get your ass put to fucking death, bitch. If a weird nigga don't come take your box first, or I ain't gonna say a weird nigga, but a nigga who burning come take your box first. Shit, you ain't gonna get put to death, bitch. But this is public indecency. But America has exposed itself to the public view. Now everybody sees the true colors of Babylon the Great. You are now vulnerable and completely exposed, weakened. It says you will be naked and burdened with shame. I will take vengeance against you without pity. Beautiful, 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 man. When you keep going, it says our Redeemer, whose name is the Lord of heaven's armies, is the Holy One of Israel. O beautiful Babylon, sit now in darkness and silence. Never again will you be known as the Queen of Kingdoms. For I was angry with my chosen people and punished them by letting them fall into your hands. But you, Babylon, showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly. You said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect your actions or think about their consequences. Listen to this. And the Lord just did this so we could get punished. That's it. But America didn't show us no mercy. That's why it says in Ezekiel 35, When you keep reading on, it says the Lord, or it says the heathens. So you heathens are guilty too, because y'all heard the affliction. And the scriptures also say that that Esau has had a perpetual hatred against us, man. Esau has had a perpetual, forgive me, I gotta handle something soon, but a perpetual hatred against us, man. Perpetual, right? So it says, listen to this, you pleasure-loving kingdom, because this kingdom is all about pleasures, man. I'm gonna read this in the NLT more often. This motherfucker is fire. All right, it says, listen to this, you pleasure-loving kingdom. So this kingdom is just the love and the pleasures. Like when you read 1 Timothy 5 and 6, for she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Yeah, that's talking about women in general, but it's also talking about America. This is a pleasure-loving kingdom. And guess what? Now it's about to officially be dead. It says living at ease and feeling secure. Now you ain't secure no more. You say, I am the only one and there is no other. I will never be a widow or lose my children. Well, both these things will come upon you in a moment, widowhood and the loss of children. Yes, these calamities will come upon you despite all your witchcraft and magic. So despite all your sorceries, like it says in Revelation 18, if I'm not mistaken, all them sorceries, or is it 19? Regardless, all your enchantments, all that bullshit, and all that shit gonna fail you. All right, you felt secure in your wickedness. No one sees me, you said. So y'all said none have saw me. But now you've all been revealed, especially you elites, you Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gettys, Oppenheimers, bitch niggas, fuck niggas, hoe niggas, all you niggas, man. All right? You Epsteins. All right? All of y'all. But your wisdom and knowledge have led you astray. What the scriptures say in Jeremiah 49 as well as Obadiah. For thy pride, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. So Esau has been made so proud. All right. And it says so it deceived him. He thought he would never fall. When you go to Psalms 49, it says they believe that their houses shall dwell on forever. Right? It says, and you said, I am the only one and there is no other. So disaster will overtake you and you won't be able to charm it away. Slakia. Because your sins have reached unto heaven. When you go to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, it says, Babylon will not be healed. This place won't be healed. Calamity will fall upon you, and you won't be able to buy your way out. A catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you are not prepared. Now use your magical charms. Use the spells you have worked at all these years. Maybe they will do you some good. Maybe they can make someone afraid of you. But nigga, you still gonna fall. All the advice you receive has made you tired. Where are all your astrologers? Those stargazers who make predictions each month. Let them stand up and save you from what the future holds. But they are like straw burning in the fire. They cannot save themselves from the flame. You will get no help from them at all. Their heart is no place to sit for warmth. It says, and all your friends, those with whom you've done business since childhood, will go their own ways, turning a deaf ear to your cry. Oh shit. Oh my God. Hold on, man. Hold on. Man, that shit fire. Hold on. That last verse. Good Lord. Hold on one moment. Shit me. Yeah, let's read that again. Verse 15. And all your friends, all your allies, NATO, EU, etc., all your friends, those whom you've done business earlier. America is asking for help and nobody wants to help them. And NATO and EU are splitting. These nations are leaving the NATO and the EU, and it's only gonna get worse because they're not agreeing with Babylon the Great. All right. When you go to Revelation 17 and 16, what does it say? What's stated in Revelation, the 17th chapter in the 16th verse? All right, it says, the 10 heads, the 10 horns shall hate the whore. All right, they're going to hate the whore. The whore is America, what we're reading about in this chapter. And they're going to eat her flesh with fire, meaning those nuclear missiles, right? So this shit fire, man. I'm gonna read this in NLT more often. You know, it'll give you a whole different perspective on this chapter. And that's amazing. Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh Shemi Hawashai. So I want to go back to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. We're gonna slide back there. Just to show you this place is falling. That was just a whole chapter to show you America is done. It's been brought low. All right. The spirit has been stripped from this place, as it states in Isaiah 24, Ecclesiastes 12. You know, the spirit of this place has been stripped. All right, this is Jeremiah 51 and verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. This is what I was talking about earlier. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. That matches verse 15 in the NLT back in Isaiah 47. The Lord hath made, or Slaki have brought forth our righteousness. Well, that's the point. That's the point. So this place is done. This place will not be healed. All right, and it's being brought low. It's being brought low. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. When you go to Revelation 18, you know, Babylon is cooked. And we've been saying this, man. Now people are starting to listen. Babylon is fallen. Revelation 18 and 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. That's what we were talking about earlier when we were in chapter 50 of Jeremiah, talking about how America is going to be a desert land where only desert creatures will dwell. All right, no human will ever inhabit this place again after this great destruction. All right, it's going to be a monument of our rebellion and a monument of what happens when you go against the Lord. So pretty much it's going to be a monument of rebellion in general, because it's going to show us why we shouldn't rebel, because we was put in captivity here, and it's going to show the nations why they shouldn't rebel because of what the fuck happened to Esau, you know, concerning that. All right, so it says, and become the habitation of devils, in the hold of every foul spirit, in the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through her, the abundance of her delicacies. All right. So there you go, man. This place is done. It's fallen. It's fallen, man. And why is it fallen? When you jump down here, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities, which it was stated back in that was also stated back in Jeremiah the 51st chapter, what we just read. You know, so this place is done. Babylon is fallen. And there's no help in this bitch. Like we just said in Jeremiah 51, you cannot heal this bitch. There is no help in America. And what is another great cause to this? Well, Apostle Paul said it best. Apostle Paul said it best. We're going to end off on this. This is Romans chapter 8, and we'll start at verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity, meaning hatred, against the Most High. For it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please the Most High. All right. Why do you think Hebrews 12 and 16 states what it does? When Esau tried to repent, what did the Lord do? He rejected that nigga, man. All right, he rejected that nigga. You understand? So what is Esau? He's a carnal man. Everything about him is carnal, and he loves that number 6. He loves 6. He loves 666. He loves 666. You know, Revelation 13 and 18 even tells you that. For the number of his name is 603 score 6. That's 666. 6 is the number of carnality. That's the number that represents carnality. This nigga is just carnal. What was the blessing that he got in Genesis 27? The blessing of the sword. That is a carnal blessing, man. This nigga is just carnal. So if he's just carnal, guess what? Nigga gonna eventually die. All that eventually leads to death. Iniquity, carnality leads to iniquity. Iniquity leads to death. All roads lead to death. That's why America is going to fall. This is a kingdom based on carnality. We were just reading in Isaiah 47 in the NLT how this place is a city of pleasures. Let's read that again. Let's go back there. Let's read that again. Isaiah 47. In the NLT. In 47 and 8. Listen to this, you pleasure-loving kingdom. You pleasure-loving kingdom. So they were called a pleasure-loving kingdom, meaning all you're doing is appeasing your flesh. When you go, like I quoted earlier, 1 Timothy 5 and 6, it says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Why? Because you're just living according to your flesh. And if you're doing that, you're going to build up iniquity. You're going to get iniquity. And if you do that, you're just going to die. In America, sins have reached unto heaven because this is a pleasure-loving kingdom, because they are carnal. This kingdom is just fully based off carnality, instant gratification, etc. This is a carnal kingdom, man, at the end of the day. So with that being said, I do hope and pray that this is edifying to the elect. I want to close the lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Ruach double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And until next time, Abba Babal, Kwame Asherala, Gadol Abadim, Lababal, Hagadol, Yahweh Mahar, Wahabatham. And until next time, I would like to say unto you all, Shalom. Well, Baba Ball, we almost up out of here, man. Shalom. How about you? How about you, Shai? How to make this lesson?